Hello and welcome back to Thoringer channel. Today I want to show you a comparison of the Constellation Andromeda in version 1.3, that's the current version in hangar, and version 2.0 that we've seen in the press demo. For the 2.0, of course, I will use the material of the press demo and I will try to imitate as much as I can what they did in the press demo with the current version in the hangar. So first we got in and we go up on the top turret. Now that's kind of finicky currently. So when you sit in this chair, you go first up into the turret. You notice that the entrance is from the front in the current hangar version, and it's not anymore in 2.0. So why is that? Well, it messes with a lot of things. Here we are now in the version of 2.0 in the press release. And, well, first the platform is bigger. You get easily up on it. Then we have a door here we didn't have before. And then the seat opens to the back.
Landing complete. Anvil Aerospace. All systems online.
And when we want to get to the pilot chair, we actually had to restart the client, because once you went up there, you cannot activate the pilot chair anymore. So that is one of the finicky things, and that's, I think, why they turned the turret around from the entrance. So here you have a nice view of the design hangar, and here is the view around. We see later in the demo a view around in hyperdrive, and of course I cannot do that with the current version, but I wanted to have a comparison of that. So here's the hangar view on that spaceship. The sound, I turned off the sound almost completely in the hangar because I thought that's what I use for the comments, and I want you to hear all the sounds in the demo because that is more of the actual sounds that are going on during flight, and I want you to be able to enjoy that. A lot of the sounds are not synced yet. You've seen that just in my last video when I talked about the Cutlass Black and Red, where the hatch sounds is a little bit too short, and the hatch actually, the movement is longer on that. And you will find a lot of these things also in the current hangar version of the Constellation. So back to the demo.
Landing request approved.
Most noticeably, the big screen in the front is gone. It's replaced with these smaller screens to left and right of the handles of the front chairs. Hyperdrive is almost starting.
Quantum drive
Quantum
activated.
drive is what it's called. Here, Enterprise says hello. Yeah. Hauptschiff
Quantum drive deactivated.
Here's some fight scenes, remember that. And here the other players using the lower turret. I like the orange there.
Bogey scanning.
This, I believe, is the top turret.
Locked.
Pilot seat.
Forward proximity alert. Shields charging.
deactivated.
Smoke still going on. I noticed the smoke in Quantum Drive. That's a little bit of a minor visual bug there.
Quantum drive activated. Quantum drive deactivated.
Yeah, you see here from the damage of the fight, and smoke that's still on there. In the front, something still needs to be repaired.
Scanning. Scanning. Bogey.
Also goes through the
Landing
ship.
mode engaged. Landing request approved.
A lot of people complain that there's no forward strut to land, and you will even see here a little bit of a... he's landing really slowly and still the front dips slightly.
Landing gear deployed. Landing complete.
I like that the elevator now carries more than one person. That would have been an odd limitation for a multi-crew ship. And also how that is segmented off the bridge. But the smoke blowing through, that's also one of the minor bugs that they're probably already working on, or maybe even cleaned already out. So here the other crew comes out. You remember they won and now they're stealing the Constellation here. What is also odd is that the back does not show that ship anymore. I don't know if that's now more integrated into the hull. There's no telling. I hope they didn't just cut it out. It's one of the major things to have that ship, I think. They really cleaned up the design nicely. It's a little bit dark in here, but it gives it a flair.
Landing gear raised. Scanning. Autopilot disengaged. Bogey. Forward proximity alert.
Quantum drive activated.
Yeah, here you see still the smoke, and that should be quantum drive. That's what I was talking about earlier.
Quantum drive deactivated.
I wish he would have gone to the back section, but he didn't. Well, here we are back in the hangar version, and if I go to the back here, everything looks a little bit of gray and gray. I like that black and orange way better. It gives it more of a solid look. So here when we go in there, we have this hatch that leads to the little daughter ship, and that's what we don't have. At least we couldn't see that in the press demo. He looked like he wanted to go back there, but he didn't go back there. So can't go in there. That's not functioning right now. But we can go down here. And I can show you what I actually mean, what I looked at. So when you go down here and you open the cargo bay, that is supposed to hold probably an ATV or something. You can clearly see that this is totally different than the current 2.0 version. It holds that little fighter in there, and even that design changed. When we look at the fighter's thrusters, we see these tiny thrusters and the big thrusters there that are also not very big. And then we look at the current version of that fighter down here. They replaced that. They have now way bigger main thrusters. And on the bottom, I don't even know what that is. Might just be some minor ones. So here's how it looked like. Looks a little bit like a Shark or like a Mercedes SLR. So let's transition into the cockpit, and from there we transition into free flight, because this one you can actually fly. Settle down, close the hatch, and off we go. Back in space. Now, what can this one do? Of course it does not have a jump drive, but it is quite fast. It can go 240 meters per second. It has that big machine gun in the front, and then 2 pulse lasers or whatever that is on the wingtips. It is tiny. It is so small that I actually had a hard time judging when I was landing how far I am on top of the landing platform. So it will be hard to shoot that thing down. With 240 meters per second, it is quite agile and it is really hard to hit. Now you will hear my controller engage. I use an Xbox controller for these kind of landings. It makes it so much easier. So turn that back on. Here it is, and now I have way better control with the right trigger. With the left trigger. With the left trigger you can use the right knob to precisely steer down, and the left knob to pan up and down your nose and tilt your left or right wing down. So it's a little bit easier. So I barely made it actually onto the landing platform. I thought it was way further to the front, but it's just so tiny, especially when I just reviewed some medium-sized chips, that I thought this one was way further to the front. So here you see that big machine gun there in the middle. Looks like a Gatling gun. It's pretty nice. Has also quite a bit of ammunition. I think 400 or 480. I didn't really look. And let's look around it. Well, quite impressive even in space. I like how it flaps up the wings. That's when it is in a cargo bay. That's what that is for, so it can store more. I bet later on you will have some sort of like a forklift or something that you can move around your ships in bigger carriers, or at least ships that are able to carry, and you can put 2 or 3 next to each other, just having enough space so that one can flap down the wings when it starts. And off we go. Look a little bit at the acceleration and stopping power and turn radius. I think it's quite impressive, and yeah, it can knock you out. You see already it's getting close to that. These yeah, the G-forces are strong when you turn with this one in tight corners, so something to consider. And accelerating in the opposite direction goes quite quickly too. Yeah, so I really enjoy this one in free flight. Now, I'm not that much of a skirmish player, I have to admit. I'm not that used to the steering yet in flight, I'm more of a tanks games player, so you probably know that from my channel if you've seen my other videos. But I really enjoy this one because it's so intuitive, and it's just a little bit of a learning curve to learn how to use your thrusters to kind of strafe, etc. And right now I don't know how I would do that on the keyboard. So that's it. Well, actually not. I was just kidding. Here's a little bit of an Easter egg. You can get to this one in ArcCorp. That's a model that is not completely done. It's hollow, you cannot get in. It's just basically the textures, outside textures. And to get there, it's kind of finicky. Well, first you have to get to this point, and then here you have to lay down, at least that's what I do, on this guardrail. But first time I just jumped down and I landed on the stairs and I died. So this way, when you lay down, you fall not that far and you can actually get down here. And this seems to be something in between the 1.3 model and the 2.0 model. It's fairly close, and when you go too far to the other side, the client will crash. That's why we'll have a cutscene in a second when I'm at the back of the ship, and then I show you briefly the front side of the ship. Both times I got too far to the outside and my client froze. So that's it. Please send me a like and subscribe if you liked it, and I'll see you next time on Thoringer's channel.